Well, this sucks. From bustling cities to serene forests, designing maps is a crucial skill. Today in our tutorial series, we're going to cover the map property menu, the differences between the map tools and the event tool, the region tool, and some basic design ideas. Let's get started. All right, first things first, let's create a map. We'll right-click here to begin. You'll notice we've got two options, the new map and the load sample map. Load sample map will allow you to choose from pre-made maps for study or for future use. For now, though, we're going to be clicking on new map. On this menu, you'll see a lot of options, and it might look a little complicated, but let's give it a look and break it down. We have four sections here: general settings, parallax background, notes, and encounters. This video is going to cover just general settings, but we'll be covering the other three in future videos. The first thing we'll want to do is set up name and display name. The difference between these two is actually really simple. The name box will be the name of the map as seen in the editor, whereas the display name is the name of the map as seen in the game itself. Now, you can name these whatever you want, but make sure you fill out the name box with something you'll recognize. After all, map 150 might not be the best choice unless you want to select each map to find the right one. Some people might choose to make the name the same as the display name, others might remove a space or add an underscore, some might make it all caps, others might use a little trick from larger games. As an example, we'll be using the Kingdom Hearts series. In the file structure for Kingdom Hearts 2, Twilight Town maps are prefixed with TT, and then a double-digit number for the map itself. In the case of Roxas's room, it would be put down as TT01, the usual spot as TT02, and so on. For me, I usually create an all-caps shortened title, straight and to the point. The choice is entirely up to you on how you want the structure of your map tree to be. Just make sure that you can understand it, and you can traverse it quickly and efficiently. Next, what tile sets are you going to use? We're not going to be getting into custom tile sets just yet, as we're still very early in this series, so for now we're going to be focusing on just the bare bones of what RPG Maker VX8 can provide us out the box. Here we have Field. This tile set I describe as sort of a world map design. A lot of games, including the original Final Fantasy VII for PS1, uses an overworld design for the player to travel from location to location, while making the world feel larger and more explorable. However, I'd only suggest you use a field map if you have need of it. Depending on the game, you might not need a field map at all. If you're a traveling merchant who goes from town to town on foot and you want to showcase the surrounding lands, then go for it. If you're a shopkeeper who does the same thing but with a taxi, maybe it might be better just to make a fast travel system using taxis as the main transfer point. Exterior maps are also pretty self-explanatory. These are, simply put, maps that take place outside. Can't explore neighborhoods without streets, right? Again, though, these are entirely up to the type of game that you're creating. If you're making a game that takes place almost entirely indoors, you probably won't have need of this tile set until you decide to add a little extra option to explore outside for expanded content, fleshing out your world building, or even as a reward. I beat the game! I'm no longer trapped, now I can leave to the outside world! Like in one of the endings of Stanley Parable. It's a good example of adding an exterior map to really emphasize the game heading in a different direction after most of it was indoors. Interior. While only some games have an exterior, most games will feature at least some form of an interior. Interior maps, again, very self-explanatory, are maps that take place inside one form of building. Shops, libraries, homes, these are all examples of interior maps. Pay special attention to these maps as you can really take the time to build a story just from what's in the room. This is a house, so what kind of person lives here? This is a shop, what sort of items do they sell? What kind of people visit this library? Never forget, visual storytelling is as important as traditional storytelling. The dungeon. While a dark forest or creepy alleyway might hold some monsters for you to fight, nothing quite beats a traditional stone basement. Dungeon tile sets are for the secrets no one wants you to discover. They're for the eyes that stare back at you in the darkness. They're the cold, damp places where dangerous creatures reside. Dungeons can be a lot of things, but mainly they're a form of level design involving traversal and puzzles to conquer. Sometimes they reward you with lore about the world or provide you with greater mystery that takes time to solve after multiple dungeons. Maybe, just maybe, you'll get lucky and find a super powerful weapon left behind by your ancestors. Final Fantasy XV has a ton of dungeons to explore with various settings such as icy cold caves and hot fiery craters. While the interior gives you the perfect place to build up characters or how a town might work, dungeons are a great way to flesh out danger and secrets best left alone. For now, let's just create an exterior map to get a feeling of the engine and then an interior map. The next boxes are width and height. These will affect the overall size of the map you're creating. One of the most common mistakes I see in RPG Maker content is an overly large room. There's no reason for a bedroom to be gigantic, with so much open space that it's ballroom worthy. A kitchen shouldn't be larger than your living room either. One of the best examples of map design is actually right around you. Look at your own home, your local library, walk into a convenience store and take notes of how many registers there are or how many aisles. Using real-world examples is great for building more realistic maps, and even more so realistic map sizes. For small rooms, I always suggest starting at 20 by 20, larger rooms 25 by 25. For exterior locations, I suggest 20 by 30, 30 by 20 or 30 by 30, again, just to kind of start off. You can always make something bigger if need be, right? The next box is scroll type. This is if you want the edges of your map to touch to create a looping effect. In some cases, this works great for cutscenes. As an example, you can use this to simulate two people walking and talking, or maybe a conversation in your car. If the map looks like it never ends, you could create a map that looks seemingly infinite. As far as map designs go, you won't be using this very often, but that just means the times you do use it will be made all the more special. The specified battle back toggle and menu is all about battles. While we won't go into great detail about this just yet, just know that this is used for when there are enemies on your map. And of course you'll want to set this to match the theme of the room that you're in. After all, if you're in a wooden house with a carpet, it doesn't quite make sense to set your battle back to be a great marbled stone castle room, right? Auto change BGM and auto change BGS, all about audio. These allow specific audios to play when you enter the room you're designing. Like I mentioned in the previous video, BGM is for background music and BGS is for background sound. Keep in mind, however, when selecting these, the music and sounds will continue playing when you leave the room, unless the following room also has these selected for different music and sounds. So if you come across an issue with music carrying over into a location with a different theme, and you can't figure out what went wrong, this is actually probably the issue. Lastly, disable dashing. Just makes it so the map you're on can't be sprinted in. I usually select this option if I'm designing an indoors map, as, you know, we're all taught as children, it's rude to run indoors after all. Now that we have our map settings taken care of, let's start making our map. Now, generally you'll have up to 5 tabs available in your tileset selection window at max. A, B, C, D, and E. Your base tiles will be in A, and that's what you'll always want to start with. A will provide you with animation tiles such as water or lava, ground tiles such as grass or dirt, building tiles and wall tiles, and miscellaneous tiles like stairs or extra flooring. B through E will be all the things you'll put on the ground, the floors, the walls, or the water. From signs to bridges, from trees to ladders, these will all reside from the B through E tiles. As I mentioned in the previous video, up on top here we have our 5 tools that we'll use for map making. The map mode is for map customization, the event button is for setting up events such as text boxes and treasure chests, and the region mode allows you to mainly set up encounter areas for enemy groups. But it can also be used for pathing, blocking the ability to move somewhere, or setting up region-specific events. But most of these region extras involve external scripts, or at least, basic scripting knowledge. So there will be tons of things to go over with events, but at a later time. For now, let's just focus on the tools activated using the map mode. The pencil tool allows you to place one tile at a time. The rectangle tool places tiles within the area you've dragged, and the oval tool does the same thing but in a circular area rather than a square or rectangle. And again, the fill tool replaces any of the same tiles in one area with the tile you've selected. The shadow pen tool helps you draw wall and building shadows 1/4 of a square at a time. Click it once and that adds the shadow. Click again and it will remove that shadow. You can also fool around with the scale buttons, which will change the display scale of the map. Definitely more helpful for larger maps, as this can go from a 1:1 scale all the way to a 1/8 scale. Note that changing the scales here only changes how the map looks in the editor, not in-game. Now, with all that being said, let's start roughing out a map. Alright, and now we have a base design for our map. It is important to remember that not everywhere you go in life will be silky smooth or pristinely clean, and it definitely won't always be perfectly shaped or symmetrical, so rough things up a bit if it starts to feel a little too perfect. You know, the last thing you want it to look like is the neighborhood from Edward Scissorhands. A very important trick to use here and there will be pressing and holding the shift key when placing tiles. This actually disables the auto tile feature, allowing you to sort of fine-tune how you want things to look. This works especially well with rugs, carpets, and water. So very quickly, we have ourselves an outside map. Not bad for a few minutes of our time, but what about the inside? Let's go ahead and create a new map for the interior. Now, for better organization, I'll always suggest map grouping. You can accomplish this by dragging a map onto another map, or by right-clicking and starting a new map from another map. This creates a map group, which helps for multiple maps in one major location. From here, let's work on the basics of our interior map. Remember, we create a story not just with our words, but with what we do with the world around us. When making your maps, always remember what kind of experiences that map has had. Is it brand new or has it been owned for years? Is it in the city or countryside? Is the person who lives there a slob? Or do they tidy up after themselves? What kind of food do they like? What's their hobbies? All these details can add to the map's creativity and ensure it is one of a kind. Trust me, your players will definitely notice. And there we have it. One exterior map, one interior map. In the next video, I'll be going over the basics of events, placing your playable characters down, and how to create a door that will transfer your player from the exterior map to the interior map and back again. Until then, I think it's finally time for a little homework.
Homework?
For every video we make, I'd like to give you all some homework to go with it. Insert the Aurum Challenge. Each video will have an Aurum Challenge to see if you can use the information I've provided to create something of your own with your own creative touch. Some will be easy, and some will really put your skills to the test. There's no scoreboard, there's no competition, but we will be grading these from time to time, so, no real pressure. Now, it's your turn. Create a simple map of your own using the tools and techniques we've covered today. Use the map property menu to set up your map. Try to incorporate some basic design principles to make your map engaging. Don't place any events down or regions just yet. I want you to focus on just the map for now. Share your map concepts in the comments on our Discord or on social media with the hashtag Aurum Challenge. Good luck!